Alright, hey, Hayes Mega here, and this is the after action review for the Hakmazada Moto Camp Cottonwood Classic Round 3. Alright, it took place on June 11th, 2023. Alright, so here's what was supposed to happen. We're supposed to go race round 3 of the Cottonwood Classic and the Sauron Lightbeat. Alright, we drove up to Hawks the day before, alright, and camped overnight. And then we registered to race in the 100 to 140 cc adult class. Okay, like the one we raced in last time. All right, it's like the biggest, most exciting class, guys. And that was the case for this race. All right, lots of minis showed up. All right, lots of minis, and oh yeah, you know what? I got a T-shirt. Hold on. Okay, Hayes Mega went and bought the T-shirt for the event. Okay, so there it is. That's the championship that we're racing in. The Cottonwood Classic Flat Track TT Races at Hakmazada Moto Camp. Alright. And so this one was the round 3. Alright, and we raced pretty much the same class as we raced last time. Alright. So I kinda got a sneak peek at the track. The day before, Hawk let me get on the track. I just hopped on the track and I rode at like a 50% pace because I didn't have all my gear on. Okay, yeah, so I didn't have all my gear on, so yeah, I kind of just scoped out the track, and it's pretty much the same track as it was last time, except they took out like 2 turns. All right, they took 2 turns out and they made like one really long sweeping turn. Okay, and that turn was like the bane of my of my racing that whole weekend, man. I just could not get that turn down. All right, unfortunately, you would think it's a long sweeping turn, you can go really fast on it, but that didn't seem to be the case for me, unfortunately. All right. Oh yeah, and by the way, I'm here at Stonyford OHV. All right, I decided to come on the way back from Hawks. I decided to come here and camp overnight, and then we're gonna go ride the next day. All right, so look forward to some trail riding videos at Stonyford OHV. I took this bike here a while back, a long time ago, before the pandemic. All right, I think, yeah, before the pandemic I came out here. Oh no, it was like during like at the early beginnings of the pandemic. The early beginnings of the pandemic, I came here and I camped out here, and we rode the Lightbeat here. All right, same story, but except I did a track day at Thunderhill, and then we drove here after, because it literally, Thunderhill is like 20 miles from here, not very far. Okay, and yeah, that my Lightbeat was much different than it is now, is what I want to say. It had the ASI controller, but it still had the stock 60-volt battery, and the battery and the controller just couldn't handle it. All right, now I want to see if it can handle it. Okay, it's got much better dirt setup, much better suspension, and much better controller and motor. All right, motor and controller that can handle the heat type of thing. All right, so yeah, that's where I am right now, if you guys are wondering. All right, I'm here at the campground. This is the Mill Creek campground or something. There's a creek like back there somewhere you can go skinny dipping in, whatever, you know. But anyway, so yeah, we registered to race, and then the practice came by. And we did the practice, and Hayes Mega was not feeling comfortable on that one long sweeper turn. And there's a couple reasons. Is you know, the Lightbeat's not really the best flat track bike. It doesn't really have good flat track riding ergonomics, and that turn, it looks like it's an off camber turn. So the bike just doesn't want to turn. The traction is just not good. You know, I tried everything I could, and I just could not get that turn. All right. It was actually better before when it was 2 smaller turns, because the turn was shorter, and then you just slow down a whole lot, and then you would take the two to 3 to 4 turns out of there. Okay, so that's the scoop. All right, and yeah, so practice went by, and you know, I thought it was okay. Check out the practice video. We had a lot of racers. We had like 12 racers. All right, we had 12 racers. In that class. I think that was the biggest class. We had to line up like a front row and then the second row. Yeah, and it was kind of tough for me to get a whole shot, because I was in the back row, you know. All I could do was try my best. Okay. So I had the bike set up with the Supermoto settings. I didn't mess around with any of the settings. I probably could have gone down on the power a little bit, all right? And I wanted to see how good the takeoff power was compared to last time, because if you remember correctly, in the last race I had there, when I twisted the throttle, the bike slowly took off, and then it took off, all right? And I can't have that. I have to have it just take off right away. And it seemed to be fine, all right? The tuning that I did, basically I just jacked the power up everywhere, all right? It just gave me the power right away. And yeah, so I thought the launches were pretty good, is what I want to say, all right? But anyway, so heat race comes along. So the weather is supposed to be like in the 90s, all right? It should be hotter, but luckily it's cool, all right? And that's the case for where we are right now, Stonyford, all right? It's nice and cool here. The last time I went to Stonyford, it was like 100+ degrees, man, and I did not enjoy it all that much. I did whatever I could to beat the heat, all right, when I was riding out there. And that's probably why the Suron overheated. Hopefully it won't overheat tomorrow, all right? Yeah, all right, so heat race comes along. All right, it's probably like 80-something degrees or something. I don't think we did the heat race until after lunch. Yeah, and so all 12 of us grid up, and so this is the kind of the theme for whenever they could water the track, they watered the track, man. And I'm telling you, the track does not have to be watered if you're racing minis on it, because minis don't kick up that much dust. Okay. It's not like you're racing big bikes and they're kicking dust and throwing dirt and rocks everywhere. No, none of that happens in a mini race, all right, guys? So I don't like it when they water the track, because it's just super slippery, and it just reduces the amount of places you can ride in, the racing lines and everything, all right? Just like the last race, all right? So sure enough, they watered the track right before our race. So we had to ride on. I probably did like 3 laps. I used a small battery for the first race. All right, I used a small battery for the practice and the heat race. All right, and I tried to keep it out of the sun as best as possible. Like I said, it wasn't that hot today. All right, is what I'm gonna say. Around this time of year, the Cottonwood and Reading area is like 100 degrees. Okay, so just be thankful it's not hotter than that. All right. So yeah. So we're having to go do a bunch of warm-up laps or siding laps. Siding laps are where you ride around and you look at the track to see the condition of the track, all right, and just try to find the lines, find the safe lines. How about that? Yeah, okay. And then so after that, we line up. Hazemaker gets stuck in the back. I'm like, oh man. And then the green flag goes up, and boom! All right, we go. I get a decent start, man. I honestly can't remember, but I think I must have passed some of the first row, but I didn't get in front of everybody. I think there was about like, let me think. Yeah, there must have been a couple riders in front of me, maybe like 5 or 6 in front of me. All right, and then I don't really know if I passed anyone. I just kind of lost places after that. So that's basically what happened, man. It's that one turn that was messing me up, and then there was like mud and stuff all on the left and the right, and I was slipping and sliding all over the place. I just did not feel confident in that turn. And so I think what happened was, I think I was behind Dean Rabideau on his XR100. We were racing him this time because his XR100 they fixed it, all right? And then I think I was behind him. I don't think we were ever in front of him. And so like they kind of take off, so I didn't really see what happened in the front of the pack type of thing. But just like people just slowly passed me, all right? So who was the first one that passed me? Joe Puentes. Right? Yeah, Joe Puentes passed me in the legendary XR100, all right? That white XR, yeah. He passed me, and then Zach Mazzata passed me on his KLX 140. And then Brock McAllister passed me on his KLX 140. These stock KLX 140s, man, they're tough, man. Is what I'm gonna say. All right, and then so pretty much, I think about by the 3rd lap, I'd already that was the position that I was stuck in. All right, so I was behind Brock McAllister on his KLX 140. I haven't raced Brock all that much, but he's a pretty good racer, is what I'm gonna say. his corner speed was faster than mine. I'm not gonna lie, man. He was riding a stock KLX 140, and I could not keep up with him in the corners, man. I could pull on him on the straights because KO Moto power, man. But the KLX was just it was just better in the corners. What could I say? The KLX has less power, it's heavier, and it's got better ergonomics than the Light V. Okay, and it makes me kind of jealous. I wish I'd brought my KLX 140 out there because that's the last time we'll be racing at Hawks Ranch for at least this part of the year. Okay, the next race is going to be in Red Bluff. All right, but anyway, yeah. So that's a scoop. I got stuck behind Brock. I tried to pass him. I could catch up to him a little bit on the straight, and then he would just pull away from me on the corner. So and Brock's he's been racing for a long time, and he's a pretty good rider. All right, he rode that KLX pretty well, and I could not catch up to him after. I was just stuck behind him, watching him ride pretty much the whole time. So who was behind me? Mason Franklin. I think this is the dude on the red. He was wearing red and an XR. I think we raced him in the Glenn County Fair race. And then there was Arturo. All right, we raced him last time. He's really fast, but he was like stuck in the back this time. He was third to last. And then there's a Nathan Hobbs and Micah Hobbs in the at the back. All right. So Hades Omega wound up 8th place. All right, 8th place out of 12. All right, so we're kind of in the middle a little bit. All right, I could not catch up to the KLX 140s and the legendary XR 100, unfortunately. All right, and then so the guys that took the podium on the heat race. All right, remember it's just a heat race. It's just kind of a practice race. Was Tyler Racewig, Doug Reswig, and John Ripley. All right, so and they're legit during practice. These were like flat track racer guys. They race mini bikes. All right, and I was watching. I let some of them pass me, and I was just kind of followed them behind it during practice, and I could tell, like, yeah, some of these guys are really fast, man. Okay, but yeah, it's that one big sweeper corner in the back. I'll give you a couple shots of me riding it.
Oh, it's wet it's wet right here. Oh, I'm going too fast. He's just revving the balls off of his engine.
Okay, did you get that? Yeah. And yeah, I just could not get that corner down, man. It seemed like I had too much traction, all right? The bike gripped too well, and I couldn't get the bike turned enough, all right? The bike would just not oversteer enough. Maybe I just need to be braver and get on the throttle more, but yeah, man, the bike just did not want to turn, all right? And I feel that if I had like a less sticky tire in the back, it would allow the back tire to slide more, and then I could point the bike where I wanted to and just get on the throttle more. I think that would have helped, or lowering the power could have helped. Another thing I could do is raise the tire pressure so I have less grip. That's what I probably should have done. I'm running 12 psi front and back. I figured, hey, there's no rocks or anything to mess up the wheels or anything. Go ahead and run lower tire pressure, says Mega. And so that's what I did. I ran 12 psi. Maybe I could have bumped it up to 15 or 20 psi. Then we'd have less grip in the back, and the bike would slide more through that corner, all right? And it might be a little more difficult on some of the tighter turns, but yeah, I was having some real problems on that turn, and I could not get it, and the track changed for the main race, is what I'm going to say, okay? So, we're going to talk about the main race now, all right? So, Hayes Mega came in 8th in the heat race, all right? Unfortunately, that put us still behind everybody on the second row for the start. All right, I got my. Oh man, come on. Yeah. So I think I would think I was like in the middle, like sort of the middle on the right. So the water truck had ran out of water, and they hadn't been watering the track for the last couple races. And well, guess what? They got water for the water truck, and they watered the track again. I'm like, oh no, come on, why water it, man? So so they watered it, and we had to go and do a bunch of laps. We must have done like 4 laps, and I was probably riding it about maybe 70%. All right, I wasn't riding all that hard because I didn't want to drain the battery and heat everything up all that much. Okay, and yeah, so yeah, that was a scoop. We rode around. I shit you not, man. The first lap that we rode, it was like riding on ice, man. The front and the back tires wouldn't grip, and they would just slide all over the place. It was horrible, man. And you would just kind of have to follow the person in front of you's line, so you guys could churn up that dirt, make it nice and grippy. And I'd have to say, after about 3 laps, the grip was pretty good. All right, the grip was pretty good, but still, kind of like the sides of the track were all wet and shiny, so you didn't want to ride on those. You want to ride where everybody rides, all right, because that's where you have the most traction. All right, if you ride over the shiny stuff or the muddy stuff, you're almost guaranteed to go sliding. All right. Probably both tires sliding. All right. Yeah, I think that's what happened. Yeah, that's what happened on the last race. Yeah, so in the heat race, I think one of the riders, they crashed. I think they crashed really bad on the first lap going into the first turn. This dude rides way too aggressive, all right? It was the dude wearing red, riding an XR100. Yeah, man. He was riding too rough, in my opinion, you know? He should just chill a little bit, that's what I say. All right, but like I said, that's the most dangerous part of the race, is the takeoff and getting into the first corner, all right? Because that's where everybody is trying to battle to get in front of everybody. Hold on, let me get my light. Okay, sorry, I have to use my camera light now because it's getting dark, all right? It's getting dark and the frogs are croaking. Anyway, so yeah, main race, and we had to do like 4 laps to get the track all preconditioned. That's what I would say for the race. All right. So Hades Mega came in 8th in the last race, so we grid 8th. All right, and we just wait for Hawk. He tells us to you go here, and then unfortunately Hades Mega had to go in the second row. All right. So green light or green flag. Green flag goes up, and we all take off. And Hades Mega gets a pretty good start. I was able to go. I went on the outside, and then I goosed it, and then and I was able to get past the middle of the pack, and I think I was in 4th or 5th.
We're in the back still, man. Good luck. All right, here we go.
Fourth or fifth coming into the first corner, and there's people sliding around all over the place, and honestly can't remember too much from that race. But yeah, it was kind of the same story. I think I had a pretty good place, and then I think Dean was behind me, and then Dean passed me on the corner. My corner speeds were not as fast as everybody else's, unfortunately, man. Those XRs, they're fast around the corners, man. Like little bikes, they just throw them around, and you know, they don't have a lot of power, but it also means they have really good grip. You just didn't have enough grip on the Lightning, man. So anyway, yeah, Dean's got up there, and then it's the same story as last race, man. Joe and Zach Mazada, they passed me.
There goes Joe. uncomfortable, man.
Alright, one after the other. I think Brock got injured or something and he didn't race that race. Or maybe he did, I don't know. I didn't see Brock the whole time. Yeah, I don't remember if I saw Brock, but and then I think at some point Arturo passed me, alright, on his KLX 140. And then the guy wearing red that rides really aggressive on the XR 100, he passed me.
It's Arturo.
And so I was just kind of stuck behind that. I think I was probably, I was probably in the 3/4 of the pack. All right, I was like in the back half of the pack. All right, I wasn't dead last, but yeah, I know there was somebody behind me, but I don't think they ever passed me. And so for a bunch of laps, maybe like 3 or 4 laps, I was behind Arturo and the guy on the XR. And the guy on the XR was trying to pass Arturo, and I think he clipped his tire, and he crashed.
Oh, this guy crashed. There you go. Don't crash.
He crashed, and so I went around him, and so I passed him, and I was behind Arturo the rest of the race. There was somebody behind me. I don't know if it was that guy that crashed or because the thing is, like, if you crash your bike and you stall your bike, with these guys, they have a kickstart. All right, it's not like Hayes and Mega. I pick the bike up and I just keep on riding. All right, because the bike doesn't stall. All right, so there's the thing. Like, if you crash your bike, all right, and it's a kickstart, then it's gonna be tough to like freaking keep on racing, right? Even if you had an electric start, your carb might be flooded if you keep it on the ground long enough. So yeah, I don't think that guy was behind us. I think whoever was behind me before, they're trying to follow me. I think they got pretty close, but they never passed me. All right, and so I wound up being behind Arturo. I think the racers that won that race. Oh yeah, I got it. They were pretty much the people that won the last race. All right. It was Tyler Racewig and Doug Racewig, and man, those were a father and son racers. All right, and they raced bigger bikes in the day, and it was exciting watching them race against each other. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see them racing each other because I was kind of too far back in the pack. All right. They were faster than me, is what I'm saying, man. Yeah, these guys are no joke, man. All these guys out there racing, they're really good, man. Racing is really hard, guys. That's what I'm saying. Try it out, guys. Oh yeah, so the people that, I don't really know what position I finished, but I know that the Racewig father and son, they came in first and second, and then Dean Rabidou came in third. All right, so Dean managed to get into third, and then I know Joe and Zach were ahead of us. On one of them was on the KLX 140, and Joe was on the XR 100. All right, and then there was Arturo. All right, Arturo was in front of me. So I feel like I was like 6 or 7. Actually, I think I did better in this race than the last race. That's funny because I feel like I did worse, type of thing. All right, and yeah, so then that was it. That was the end of the race, guys. I'm kind of sad that we didn't get on the podium, but yeah, those guys were really good that we raced against. It was very challenging for me. I'm not gonna lie. Oh yeah, okay. So here's kind of the theme for this race. So they had done the open knobby race before ours, right? They did a back-to-back race. So they, because they make them race last, and then they made them race again, so they can like groom the track. But I don't think they groomed the track good enough, man, because those dirt bikes, they just tore up the track, man. So that there was a lot of like kind of bumps and dips forming on the track. It wasn't flat anymore, guys. And then that back corner, the back sweeper turn that Hayes Mega was having a hard time, well, it was even harder now. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. All right, so to your left, it's nice and flat. All right, but it's wet. There's mud. All right, if you go in there, you're guaranteed to go sliding. All right, if you want to try to challenge it, but yeah, not a good idea. All right, and then you've got the center section that's like it's good traction. All right, and then on the outside, it's kind of chopped up. Dirt and stuff. It's kind of like there's kind of like a berm there, sort of, but not really. It's like a really bad shape and stuff. Well, even the middle part of the where the traction was good, it was all washboardy. All right, it was like kind of left and right. It's kind of like riding on cobblestone, right? It's not even, and it's kind of like these teeny tiny little whoops and stuff. Yeah, and that made it really hard to get good corner speed on that. And I'm not gonna lie, it's probably the same for everybody else, but I remember when I was going around the corner, and well, you know what? There was actually one good line. There was a groove forming there, and I remember I hit it once. I think it was really hard to see. You just have to kind of know where it is, and then you can take that groove and go really fast. But or it was like a little rut forming, but unfortunately I only found it once. The rest of the time, you would hit this washboard stuff, and the back would just go. Yeah, I didn't really have all that much problem with the front. The front was fine, but the back, I mean, sometimes the front would slip, but the back would just go bouncing around all over the place. Maybe if I had a better suspension setting, then maybe we could have done better. But yeah, man, the bike was just like fishtailing all over the place. It was not good. All right, guys, this is what I say. So that kind of contributed to why like so many riders passed me, man, and they were really good. Okay, those are my only excuses, guys. All right, for doing bad, is that yeah, that one turn messed me up, and there was a lot of mud on there, and yeah, I couldn't really get on the throttle as much as I wanted, you know, and there was that kind of washboardy stuff forming that got formed after the knobbies tore it up. All right, it got all messed up. All right, and it made it very difficult in that race. Really, the only place I was kind of gaining some ground, I feel, is the straight. All right, and I couldn't catch up to Arturo, man. He rode really good. All right, he's the guy that beat us last time. All right, yeah. I kind of wish I'd brought my KLX 140 out to race. There is a bunch of KLX 140s out there racing also. They seem to do really good in this race. And the KLX 140 has better riding ergonomics than this, man. This feels like a bicycle, where like a KLX 140 feels more like a motorcycle type of thing, all right? Only thing is like it's twice as heavy, all right? It's twice as heavy. Mine is actually pretty fast. We probably could have done pretty good. I should have brought it, guys. I should have brought my KLX. I was thinking about bringing it, and had I known that this was the last race that we'd be doing at Hawks Branch, I probably should have brought it just to see how I would do on it. All right, but the exciting stuff is racing the Lightbee. I know you guys like to see me race the Lightbee, and yeah, the suspension is better on the KLX also. So I think we would have done better on the KLX in this race. All right, especially with that washboardy stuff, it probably would have handled it a lot better. All right. However, the rear suspension is kind of too soft on my KLX. Okay, so that was it. I took video of a bunch of the races, so check that out, guys. And so that's it. That's the AAR for Cottonwood Classic Round 3. What could we do to do better? I don't know, man. Maybe go up on rear tire pressure. This Shinko Cheater tire is really good tire. All right, it's a really sticky tire. I think it's like an ideal tire, especially since it's kind of half worn already. It's perfect for doing flat track, okay, guys? But however, I feel it's kind of too grippy. I think you want it to slide a little bit more. So I think what we could do is, instead of like using some other kind of like a street tire or like change the tire, we just bump the tire pressure up on the rear, all right, and then keep that low tire pressure. So we were running 12, right? So we'll run 12 on the front, and then maybe we'll run 20 in the rear, and then that it may not grip as well, okay? And and maybe the bike will slide a little bit better. All right, so I think really the ergonomics of the Light B is really killing me in these flat track races, but those guys were really good racers. All right, I'm not gonna lie. All right, the bike handled it just fine. All right, it never overheated or anything. I think the motor got past half, almost like the 3/4 heat, and then the controller almost got to half. All right, I've never overheated this motor. I have overheated the motor before going up a long hill climb, and we're gonna test that out tomorrow when we ride at Stonyford, because there's plenty of steep hill climbs here, guys. All right, the Potato Hill, it just keeps on going up, so that will be a good torture test for the KO Moto setup. So check that video out. All right, but yeah, I think that's the best that we can do with this bike. All right, is what I'm gonna say. Short of like, hey Mega, you need to ride it better. Also, another thing we could do is maybe get a longer seat. There had those seats that like they covered the battery cover. I think that would be a good upgrade, is what I'm gonna say, because really where you want to ride up is on top of the battery cover, right? But it just doesn't feel comfortable sitting on top of that battery cover, man. That's what I want to say. But yeah, I tried the best I could, guys. So that's my excuse. Those guys were just better than me. Well, obviously, right? All right, thanks for watching. Hayes Big out. I will be racing, so check out the Stonyford riding videos, all right? I'm going to go ride tomorrow. It's going to be like I'm just going to do 2 rides, all right? I got 2 batteries. I'm going to charge them full again tonight. We're going to go up Potato Hill, and then we're going to go up that way towards the town, and then come back here, all right? Pretty much the route that I took the last time I was here, all right? The ASI controller heated up a whole lot, and it just it overheated big time, all right? And I had to spray water on it just to cool it down, all right? But this time I don't think we're gonna have any problems. Plus it's not as hot as last time. So, but the hills just killed it last time, man. Okay, and then in 2 weeks I'll be racing at Reno, all right? At the for the Northern Nevada Kart Club Supermoto race, all right? I think they're doing round 5, all right? This is round 5, second to last. We did pretty good last time, and hopefully we can continue to do good in this next race, all right? That's it. That'll be 2 weeks from when I'm shooting this video. All right. Thanks for watching. Hayes Big out. That's the AR.